Hey guys, so obviously if you're watching this, you want to figure out the best way to promote your music. Spotify playlisting is not the way to go in 2026, and I'm going to just jump straight into why it isn't. So the first thing you need to understand is that Spotify is the most important music first platform by far. And by music first, I mean a platform where people are primarily streaming music and not just, watching content with it. So as you can see, as much as people complain about the Spotify price going up and up, the number of subscribers also just continues to increase year over year. And when you look at Spotify in comparison to other streaming services in terms of popularity, Spotify absolutely dominates the competition. It's not particularly close. I've seen a lot of people talk about things like SoundCloud promotion and stuff like that. I mean, I think that there is a use for that still in 2026. You want to be growing a cult fan base on a platform like SoundCloud, especially if you're in the underground rap scene. But at the same time, Spotify is just the dominant player, right? And so that kind of leads into my next point, which is that growing your Spotify audience is essential for both streaming revenue and general relevance, right? People look at your monthly listener as a sign of credibility, right? People look at your monthly listener as a sign of, okay, is this artist legit? Should I buy a feature from him maybe, right? Should I really tap in with his music? Other people seem to like it. He's going up right now. You want to be able to create the kind of effect where you have a decent amount of monthly listeners. You can show people that you're kind of popping off, and that makes them more attracted to you. Because by having more monthly listeners and by having more streams, you are positioning yourself to look like the next big thing, which can be super attractive because nobody wants to look like a new gen anymore. So a lot of people with that mindset obviously want to do whatever they need to do to grow their Spotify. And what a lot of people end up doing is Spotify playlisting. So what is Spotify playlisting? It is basically where you pay a service to put you in a bunch of playlists that thousands of people have already added to their library. On its face, it sounds pretty good, just a quick way to boost streams, and it can be used as that. But a lot of people use this as their primary growth pathway, which is a terrible idea. So a lot of artists just turn to playlisting as a means of growing their Spotify audience. They see that they want those monthly listeners, and they just need it now, right? So they go to playlisting thinking it's a quick fix. This is not a good idea in 2026. I'm going to explain why this doesn't work, but if you do want to learn a system that actually is going to help you with growth, you can check the link in the description and work with me directly. Actually, if that's something that you're interested in, you can check that out. So there's three main reasons as to why playlisting is dead in 2026. The first is kind of obvious, right? It's bots. Playlist botting has always plagued Spotify playlists, and you can't really get away from this. Now, I do think that this is kind of cope in 2026. Like, I do think that most playlist promotion companies are actually making an effort to just go for organic streams because Spotify is better at detecting bots now, but it's still a thing that comes up. You're still going to get some bots listening to your songs, and obviously those are basically worthless, right? They're going to pump your numbers up. Doesn't really matter at the end of the day. You're not getting any new conversions. You're not getting any new fans. Utterly useless. And it can also screw up your place in the Spotify algorithm and get your music taken down if it's actually a botted playlist. The second is longevity. If you're paying for a song to be in a playlist and then you just stop paying, there is no longevity to that song. Some people that added it to their personal playlist, some people that, saved that song and listened to it on the regular, they're still going to like the song. But for the most part, your streams are just going to instantly go down. I've seen this happen with plenty of artists that use playlisting as their main growth of streams. The second they stop paying, when they run out of money, like the longevity of the song is just dead. The trajectory is gone, right? So there's no longevity to playlisting. And also the ROI just really isn't there, right? Like most of the time you're going to be paying more for playlisting than money you're getting back, right? So it's already a negative ROI, not every time, but most of the time. And you usually have to pay an exorbitant amount of money for not that many streams, right? I'm talking like hundreds of dollars just to get maybe 20,000 streams on a song, which in the grand scheme of things is just not that much. You're not going to be making a lot of money off 20,000 streams. So the ROI just isn't there. Oh, I'll just get on an editorial playlist, right? We're just going to get on an editorial playlist. Spotify has their own playlists. Obviously, these aren't botted because they're Spotify official playlists. These obviously have more longevity. They have more credibility, right? Because they're playlists that are created by Spotify and are pushed out to users all the time. So I'll just get on an editorial playlist, solves all the problems, right? Well, the problem is that you're probably not going to get on an editorial playlist. It's a very closed door system. I have a friend of mine, for example, who signed a pretty major record deal recently. And this is a guy that had under 10,000 monthly listeners when he signed that deal. Upon signing that deal, within a week, his newest release was in a major Spotify editorial playlist. He was the only rapper of that size that had his music in that playlist, okay? So if that doesn't go to show you that it is a closed door system, the amount of people that are pitching to Spotify playlists every freaking week is just so many, right? You're probably just going to get lost in the sea. Now, look, you can still pitch your music on Spotify for artists or through whatever distributor. You should probably still do that, right? Low effort, right? Costs no money, but you're probably not going to end up at a playlist at the end of the day. It's obviously not a reliable thing to do, right? So am I just cooked? Is there anything I can do? What do I do? Candy, bro, you've explained the problem. What is the solution? So you're not cooked, okay? But the answer is going to be social media, and there's three reasons for this. First of all, posting content on social media and going up off social media gives you access to fans, right? People that are actually going to be involved in your music, that are actually going to be attracted to your brand as an artist rather than just your music itself. If you get a song to 100,000 plays on Spotify by paying a ton of money for playlisting, how many of those people are going to go to your shows? How many of those people are going to buy your merch? None. And you can enjoy your streaming revenue that you're literally in negative ROI for. You can enjoy your streaming revenue. But like, at the end of the day, how artists make money is through tours, shows, promotion, merch, these kind of things. That's how you actually make money if you actually want to live off of your music, okay? And you're not going to be able to do that in 2026 outside of social media. Social media is the only way to run it. I have seen artists with 1 million monthly listeners and then like 20,000 Instagram followers. And whenever these people post a new song or a new this or a new that, right? The only people commenting are other artists. Like, you don't have a fan base, bro. And these are the same people that are trying to sell you these, playlisting services, these meta ads services, whatever. It's like, you are not the proof of concept just because you have all these monthly listeners. It's nice to have all the monthly listeners. You're going to be generating streaming revenue. Don't get me wrong. But do you have a fan base? Do you have people that are actually going to like tune into your new drops, that are actually going to, are actually going to go to your shows, that are actually going to buy your merch, that are actual fans of you and your artistry and not just the songs that have 1 million plays? No, they don't care about you, right? So we want to create a fan base. We want to cultivate a fan base that actually cares about you. Secondly, is going to be exposure, right? You can get way more exposure through even a single social media post than an entire Spotify playlisting campaign that people spend hundreds of dollars on. If you have a viral post and it gets 1 million views, which is obviously a high watermark, then, the amount of money you'd have to pay is just absolutely ridiculous to get that result on Spotify. And obviously, even if you're just posting a lot of content and it's just doing okay on social media, not going crazy, not flopping, that's still higher ROI. You're doing it for free. That's content you're making for free, right? So, obviously way better. And then finally is artist identity. You cannot form an artist identity with playlisting. You're basically faceless, right? Oh, you can have your little Spotify canvas. Okay, nice. Like, who cares? No, you don't have a brand. You don't have a brand when you're playlisting. People are just listening to the song. They're liking the song. Okay. You can get your music out there. You can get if you want to take this as a business, if you want to take this serious as a business, if you want to actually create a fan base, people that are going to actually be involved in you as an artist, right? You need to have an artist identity to back that up. And you cannot communicate any of that with playlisting. So if you want to learn more about these 3 aspects that make social media unique, you want to grow a fan base, you want to get yourself out there, you want to create an artist identity, I will literally show you how. You can just click the link in my bio to work with me to see videos I've created specifically for this if you want. I have a lot of content on this stuff. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed, and just make sure to check that out. I'll see you.